You ever seen a kid get his diploma snatched out of his hands at his own graduation by those smug little rich boys who thought the world owed them a standing ovation? Yeah, that happened. But let me tell you something they didn't know. Some moments don't break you. They make you. And what they started on that stage. Oh, they had no idea what they were waking up inside that boy. It all went down at Lincoln Falls High, a school that prided itself on its diversity initiatives but couldn't quite stop two golden-haired legacies from tormenting a quiet black kid for 4 years straight. His name, Elijah Brooks. Not flashy, not loud, just the kind of kid who kept his head down, studied hard, and survived one microaggression at a time. That morning, Elijah had adjusted his graduation cap 3 times before even leaving the house. His grandma, Miss Thelma, old school tough, worked double shifts at the cafeteria, had ironed his gown with tears in her eyes. "First one in the family to get a scholarship," she said, smoothing the sleeves. "Your mama would have been so proud." Elijah just nodded, too nervous to speak, but quietly bursting with hope. State University was waiting. A new chapter, a clean slate. Except the past wasn't done with him yet. See, sitting 2 rows behind him were Colton Hayes and Bryce Pennington. You know the type. Letterman jackets, 6-figure daddies, zero accountability. For 4 years, they'd made it their personal mission to remind Elijah where he didn't belong, tripping him in the hallway, mocking his skin, laughing loud enough for him to hear, but quiet enough to deny. And now, on the one day that was supposed to be about his victory, they had one last trick planned. The ceremony was rolling along like clockwork. Names were called, applause followed, cameras flashed. Miss Thelma was sitting up front, recording on a phone that still had a cracked screen from 2008. Elijah's name was coming up. Then it happened. Just as he stepped up to receive his diploma, Colton reached out and ripped it from the principal's hand. Bryce burst into laughter, waving it above Elijah's head like a prize at a county fair. "Oh, wait, this yours." Man, he smirked. The crowd, some laughed, some just stared. No one stopped them, not even the staff. Elijah stood there, frozen, the gym echoing with the sound of his own humiliation. His hands clenched, his eyes blank. The principal tried to play it off, some weak joke about youthful exuberance, but the damage was done. That night, Elijah didn't eat, didn't talk, didn't even open the acceptance letter that had made his grandmother cry 2 weeks before. He just laid in his bed, curtains drawn, a ghost in his own body. Miss Thelma stood at the door, holding a bowl of stew he never touched, whispering, "Baby, don't let him steal your spirit." But the truth was they had, until she made a call. Next morning, she marched him into a dusty old gym on the east side, introduced him to a man named Coach Rell, a former Golden Gloves boxer with a busted nose and a voice like gravel. Coach Rell didn't ask questions. He just pointed to a punching bag and said, "Hit it." Elijah did, again and again, until his knuckles bruised and something inside him cracked open, something quiet but burning. That summer, while Colton was in Cabo and Bryce was posting yacht selfies, Elijah was sweating through double sessions, learning discipline, control, and power. Not just of the body, but of the mind, Coach Rell told him. Fighting ain't just fists, it's knowing when to strike, and when to smile and let him wonder. And by the time fall rolled around and he stepped foot on State University's campus, Elijah Brooks wasn't the same boy anymore. For 3 days, things were calm, until he heard that laugh. That damn laugh. He turned, and there they were, Colton and Bryce, posted up on the steps of the student union, surrounded by their new crew, flashing those same smug grins. Well, "Look who's here," Colton said, voice dripping with mock surprise. Elijah didn't flinch. He just nodded and walked away. They didn't like that. So the games began again, this time more subtle. Whispers in dorm rooms, rumors in group chats. Watch out for Elijah, they'd say. Violent, angry. You know how those types get. And the worst part, people believed them. But Elijah had learned. This time, he didn't spiral. He trained. He studied. And he found allies. Like Marcus Vance, a junior who ran underground boxing sessions at the rec center. And Nina Patel, a TA in the lit department who saw through the noise. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Emma Sloan, Colton's girlfriend, a pre-law major from California, with a sharp tongue and sharper conscience. One day, she overheard him joking about Elijah's tendencies in the dining hall. She didn't laugh. She confronted him. Boys being boys, she spat. That's not a joke. That's racism, Colton. And I'm done pretending otherwise. She dumped him. Publicly, loudly, and walked straight to the university ombudsman with a folder full of screen recordings and text messages she'd saved. But before anything could happen officially, the trap was set. They lured Elijah to a frat party, said Emma was in trouble. And when he arrived, there, they were Colton and Bryce holding her hostage, camera rolling, trying to provoke him again. Only this time, they got exactly what they asked for. Colton swung first, a wild, untrained punch meant to humiliate. Elijah ducked, slipped, then fired back. One punch. Bryce dropped. Another. Colton crashed into the wall. The room went dead silent, except for the sound of Elijah's breath and Emma whispering, "It's over." But it wasn't, because the next sound was sirens. And the next thing Elijah knew, he was on the ground, handcuffed, with Officer Harrington, the same one who coached Colton in Little League, telling him, "You're under arrest for assault." Emma screamed. They lured him, they set this up. But her phone where the video was had been smashed. No proof, no witnesses. Just a bruised legacy kid and a black freshman with bloody hands. Yeah, it looked bad. Court came fast. Colton wore a neck brace. Bryce limped dramatically. Their lawyer, hired by Colton's daddy's firm, spun a tale so polished it could have won an Oscar. "My clients feared for their lives," he said. This was a premeditated attack. And then, just when it looked like Elijah was about to lose everything, the courtroom doors flew open. Detective Lourdes Romero, retired, fierce, and holding a manila envelope. "Your Honor," she said, "we have audio." Turns out, Emma had made backups. Turns out, someone else had been listening. And when the judge heard Colton's voice, "We'll bait him, get it on camera, make him look like the thug," the whole room changed. Suddenly, Elijah wasn't the defendant anymore. He was the victim. Within a week, charges were dropped. Within 2, lawsuits were filed. Elijah won a $2 million settlement, enough to buy Miss Thelma a house with a garden and a dishwasher. Emma transferred schools, started pre-law with a scholarship for civic leadership. And Colton and Bryce, they're still in county. Last we heard, their daddies were trying to pay off everything in sight. But the internet never forgets. As for Elijah, he went back to school, quietly, studied harder, fought smarter. And one day, when Miss Thelma visited his new place, she said, "You finally got what they tried to take, didn't you?" Elijah nodded. But his eyes said more. He got respect. Not because he fought back, but because he survived, outgrew them, and made sure the whole damn world knew the truth. And that's the part they'll never live down. So now I've got one question for you. If someone takes your dignity in public, and you take it back with proof, with pain, with everything you've got, does that make you dangerous? Or just human? Let me know what you think in the comments. Was Elijah right to fight back? Was justice really served? Or is there still a deeper problem hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts below, because stories like this don't end in courtrooms. They live in conversations. And maybe that's where real change starts.